I'm going to make this a thing, I think. It's the third week in a row. So far, they've gone well. We kind of look at the same altcoins over and over, but I like to revisit the TA and make sure that what we're doing lines up. So every single week, we're going to look at some charts, maybe do a couple new coins as well. I try to keep it to about an hour. My kids are here. Just got done doing the whole basketball game where the daughter danced at halftime. So time to relax, have the one beverage for the evening. This week, no Moscow Mule. We're going to have a Budweiser and call it a day. So hopefully you guys are well. See a few of you in the chat already. It looks like there's a handful. So always good to see you guys. And I appreciate you guys spending your Saturday or your Friday with me, actually. Take that back. Not Saturday just yet. Okay, chart wise. First up, I am going to take a look at Bitcoin just right off the rip. I know that normally we don't do that on these Friday night charts. However, I think it's very relevant. Obviously, I've been watching the DXY. Nothing has changed there. You can go back to any of the most recent videos and get the DXY analysis. You can see that we're still at this resistance. Crack it. We go to 14775. Things are fine. In terms of the DXY, I've obviously been tinkering a little bit here, so I'm going to get rid of some of this. It's just not necessary. But this also lines up with the altcoin analysis, meaning, what are we expecting right now? I gave you guys some very simple levels, both last time we were live, and we're going to continue with the simplicity here. And I'm just going to extend this to the right. Okay. So this is the zone we would be looking for. You can see we've tapped it pretty much to the T here at 21,468. This is the most local high. And when we were breaking back above these lows here, the Q2 and the Q3 low between 17,567.50 and 18,090, we were looking for what? We were targeting these highs. So it is important to hang on to these zones of support and resistance. These are the two highs we started targeting, and the third high would be here, right? So we didn't quite get to the third one. However, we did get above a couple of these, and they've been, fairly decent in terms of support if you wanted to keep things as simple as possible, right? So you can see here, support and resistance down to support. So if you lose this area, I would expect to see about 20,688, which is the 12M1 from 21. For anyone that's in the group, you know what that is. You've also probably heard me talk about it over the last year, basically, on this channel, 20,688.50. Why do we think that the possibility of going lower is still there? Well, key levels for today are going to be previous day open was a pretty big inflection point, but so will be the previous day high. So this zone right here needs to get claimed. Kind of a wide zone for us these days between 21,798 and 21,936. More emphasis on the 936 in my opinion, because if you flip 21,936, you can get down to like the 1 hour or the 5 minute, right? Extend this over. Start flipping this level into support. I would expect a back test into the gold pocket, which if you recall, we were just looking at the old support right here, which we got rid of, but we'll leave up. And if you recall the old support, that when we look left, there it is, right? There's your gold pocket, giving you a secondary zone. So you could just play this box to box at this point. I'm going to highlight this box here in just a second. Like so, right? So this is how I would be playing Bitcoin, and this is going to affect altcoins. So that's why we're keeping up with that, because generally whatever Bitcoin is doing, the altcoins are doing, right? That, like when everyone asked why the altcoins were pumping, it was because Bitcoin was on its way, right? There was no other reason for it to be on its way other than that Bitcoin was doing its thing. So we have to remember how this market actually works. The TA still applies to altcoins. It often lines up very nicely with Bitcoin, which is really nice. However, we need to see this. So if we start seeing Bitcoin break above 21,798 and then 21,936, this looks like at least an interim bottom, and we'd be looking for a back test of resistance, which comes up here. Now, the one thing to note is this is a single print right here. You can see that on the chart. You could also see it on a TPO chart if you went over to XO. We'll pull that up here in just a second, meaning that we expect that if we get into that single print, we're probably going to fill it, meaning that we'd likely run this up to the high of this and tag this gold pocket, right? So that's how you would be reading this. I show the single print is at 22,201 to 22,270. and that puts us just below the gold pocket. So everything lines up really, really nicely there, that we're playing the if then this game in terms of trading. I took a few trades here today, a couple longs. Haven't really been looking for too many shorts, just because, you know, you're not really trying to short a move that looks like this at this point. You've missed the boat if you're looking for a short. You should have hedged a long time ago. So for day trades, I have been taking longs specifically. So now that Bitcoin is out of the way, we know what we're bouncing from. Again, it is 21,468. That is your November high. Okay, right here. Now your previous day low. We've been watching this zone, this level for quite some time. It's been in almost every stream. If you look at all the charts, it's been there. You can see that we swept the New York session value, or New York session low, excuse me, turned it into support out of the gold pocket up to the daily pivot and gold pocket. So break through the gold pocket and the pivot. I expect to see the previous day open, which is the etchings of this box right here. Then we're looking for the previous day high, and we play it accordingly. And yeah, so that's how that goes. Otherwise, if you break down from there, still looking for 21.2, because that is the overall developing year range thus far. So what I mean by that, for anyone that's curious, try not to be too ambiguous and expect you guys to understand, but this is your developing range as of right now for the quarter and for the year, and the 6 and 1. And you can see about 21.1 here, or 21.2, depending on the software that you're using. If you're using ATAS, it's a little bit different. You have a different TPO and volume value area low, and it comes in this region. So that's what I'd be looking for. If you're looking at it from an overall merged range where you say, well, I think all of this data should be included, then you're actually looking for about 20K still, which would be down below these lows, which I think is on the table until we see a sign of strength. The real sign of strength that I'd want to see to get me excited about this, and saying that this is likely a local bottom and we do try to head up, a reclaim of this like 20,000. That's the level I've been giving. It's a mathematical pivot from the first 6 months of 2021. It just happens to be very, very relevant to our price action now, and it lines up nicely with what our local gold pocket, lines up with our single print, lines up with our structural support. So that's how I'd be reading the Bitcoin price action. So that said, it bleeds into altcoins, right? You can see I was working on ALGO. I'm going to start on a couple of them, QNT being the first one, mainly because this is the one that I was, I wouldn't say that I'm most interested in, but it's the one that I'm watching pretty actively, because I've been trading this one a lot. I've been trading it since about $40. Was lucky enough to catch the lows here in pretty spectacular fashion, in my opinion, and then also nailed the highs up here. So for me, watching this come back down to support, catching this breakout, was looking for 166. I was, smart enough to get out of my position early, meaning that I didn't try to catch all of the move to 166, knowing that 145 was such a high time frame resistance, and it still remains that way. When we look at the monthly chart here, you can see that on a 3-month chart, excuse me, not the monthly, this is your wick high, swing fail, and now it's resistance yet again. So we do need to see the quarter close there. You still have over half the quarter left. We're approaching the halfway point here on Valentine's Day. So will be interesting to see what happens. But if you start closing above 145, you do have a change of behavior. And I would honestly start targeting some of these upper levels, like the 2022 open, right around 178, anything above 178. And I think that you're obviously going to re-challenge into 220, but I think you have the real chance of running the 272 and then maybe even coming back up to this like 290 region, which would be much later on down the road. That implies the markets have to rally from here. So where do we go from here? If we're watching this in terms of local price action, you can see I've got a really wide box here. We built this out last time, and I think it's a little wider than I would like it to be. I don't necessarily think we're coming back to the 2023 open. While it's not improbable, I just don't think it's the most likely right now. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. So I'm still looking for this box between 124 and 113. Obviously, 128 right here is holding up as support. It's your last like daily roundup zone here. So if you just isolate this wick low before this SFP that puts local high, you could then do something like so, and you could just extend this to the right. And this is where you're bouncing from. So you can see this is your structural support, very easy to find. If this gives, I expect to come down to here. So what I'd be looking for in this instance is this to be a pit stop. and look for it to make a rally and then come down and wick into this region. I'm only looking for a wick. I don't expect it to live here really, unless something major is going on with Bitcoin down in some kind of spectacular fashion, for lack of a better term, I guess. I just realized this is, there we go. Let's look at it like this. I think that makes the screen a little larger for you guys. So as of right now, you are at support. You really cannot be getting too bearish on this. You can only be looking to buy. So to me, you're either buying here, playing this bounce, or you're looking for this gold pocket and this these two supporting pivots, in my opinion. Where is the monthly pivot on this one? I'll have to take a look. Oh, hang on. We done goofed. We'll get that back up. We've done goofed. Sorry about that. Monthly pivot is 136. So any bounces from here, you have to have 136 held as support. But as of right now, you are below it. So, expect this bounce between like 130 to 136, a couple percent bounce. We'll see what happens. Realistically, not all that bullish unless 145 is reclaimed on like a material closing basis, like a daily up to a weekly time frame. In the short term, then I'd be looking up to challenge the new high, right? So that's how that would work. But realistically, still looking for this area of the chart. I do want to pull the quarters. Go down to the 1 hour for this. And this is honestly, this is one of the messier charts I've got, so I do apologize in advance. Yeah, you're still yet to fill out the quarter. So I am. I'm looking at this as you front run your lows here, and I would expect to move down, or maybe a wick into this region. That's where I'm looking to get filled. If you're not, trading is not about perfection, and this is actually a spot position because there's no need for leverage, one, for most alts, and two, the only leverage offered on this coin is on Bybit that I know of, and it is a cross promotion, and I'm not into cross leverage, so I won't be using any leverage whatsoever on this one. So if you were comfortable with a buy here, you could definitely start averaging in my opinion, down to 113. You'd have to be comfortable with that, such a wide level to average into. Me as a trader, I'm going to wait for these positions personally to see if I get what I'd like. Otherwise, I will long strength right to the top of the range. MATIC, another very clean chart. MATIC also getting things really well, and it's developing regression. So if you're in the group, you know what this is. So these are all based on time. This is the developing year. I just have custom settings on it to make it a little bit cleaner so that it actually gets price action, fairly nice. Otherwise, you can find the regression tool in the first bucket here. It's right here. You just have to adjust it. You don't have to adjust anything. You can go off the standard settings. It's just not going to be nearly as good. But what you'll notice is we came down, bounced off the yearly pivot, and you're developing February POC into what? Regression low, back up into the value area high of your developing monthly range, and back down to the regression again in this yearly pivot. Or you could just go and get rid of all of this altogether, and you could just say this was level to level. After you got the rejection, you came down to the yearly pivot, back to the 6-month pivot, back to the yearly pivot. So you have a very nice sideways range here. So for me, still watching the quarterly right here. You can see this is also going to be the level on the chart that is kind of holding us up. So not only did we have the yearly pivot there and the regression there and the February point of control there, which is fitting because it's such an important area. You can see that right here, if you're looking outside of your developing quarterly range into the non-standard deviation portion, that this is also a high volume node. Outside of it, it's a fairly good chunk of price. You start losing this area of the chart. Obviously, you could wick down to like $1.19. But if you start losing this area of the chart around 122 on a confirming basis, meaning that you're turning it into resistance, you might get a bounce here, then resistance. I'm still looking for something like this down to the January POC. I believe your monthly pivot is here as well at 101. So I'm still looking for that 101 area. Nothing has changed. However, if you were being extra bold and you don't think we're going to get there and you think that this dip is over, you would be trading it up to the April NPOC at 141 would be your next target. How you'd be working that out is like so. So now we're going to talk about stop losses a little bit. So let's say you don't think we're going to get below this region and that the low is likely in, then you're looking at something like this, and you would have to be stop loss below this local low, which, you know me, I don't think that's very safe. But, you know, this is for the doubters out there that don't think we're going lower, which is fine. Stop loss is below the low, and you're looking to take this up. And in reality, this is still a 3-to-1 R to R from your current stature. So it's not a bad trade. You just have to understand, I don't think it's the most likely, which doesn't matter what I think. It matters what price is doing. And as of right now, you're still at support. You're still holding support and higher lows. But the moment that these higher lows give, just like on Bitcoin, right? So you have a low here, 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 and here. See how clean these higher lows are? You know, this is how people draw trend lines as well, I'm sure. They say stuff like this. They go, look at the clean trend line, right? You lose this trend line, where are you going? Probably $1.01. Why? Because all the stop losses below here are going to get triggered, and we're going to see the quick move down into support. So between $1 and 1.24 cents, in my opinion, up to 105, that little 4-cent pocket, which is, you know, 3 to 4% area in this high volume node developing on the quarterly. That's where I'm looking to next. And like I've said before, guys, if I don't get these levels, I'm perfectly okay with it. And the reason I say that is I only trade on my terms, and MATIC is one that I will apply a little bit of leverage to. When I say a little bit, we're talking like 2x, because I'm not going to upload a ton of funds on this. I'll be trading the USDT pair as well on it, which is kind of rare for me. I usually trade inverse only. I already have my MATIC. I've bought where I want to buy long time ago. Got to buy not the absolute low, but pretty close, you know, sub 40 cents for me is where I was collecting my MATIC. Took profits at this first high up here at $1.30, which was just an old SFP from the prior range. Also a perfect 1-to-1 touch and 382 touch in logarithmic scale, if I recall. Right. And you can see this is your old SFP, your old support right here. Boom. You can see how that's very, very pretty. We like pretty charts here. I've sold some of it there, and I've kept the rest of it. So if I get an opportunity to buy back in for the long term, in terms of like, I'm not going to sell this MATIC until the bull runs over type thing, assuming we go into a bull run anytime soon, right? It's going to be sub 50 cents. So that's just where I'm at. I want to buy underneath these lows again. And if I get that opportunity, I will. If I don't, I will use a little bit of leverage here and there to trade, but I'm going to hold on to my remaining MATIC until major targets are actually hit. So hopefully that makes sense. What were the QNT levels in that box? They were 124 and 113, I think, down to 113. It's kind of a big box, just to give you a heads up. Yeah, 124.67 and 113.60.9. Gold pocket is in the middle of it, obviously, but it's a pretty wide box. So anything below this, and you're probably heading back down to like 105, but more than likely 90, 94, and maybe lower over time. So that's where you get concerned. You start losing these levels, there's concern. So for me on MATIC, very, very simple. You're at support. We're still waiting for this potential to come back down to these higher time frame supports. So again, we're going to emphasize the high time frames here. We were just looking at the monthly and the quarterly. We know we have things in this region. You can also see this was a settle up. If we got to the monthly one more time, I'm going to get this guy over to here. What do you notice on the monthly, right? So this is your wick high right here. And what you will see is that we swung fail this high repetitively, go to the 3-month, and you can do the same thing just above it at the 3-month. See how that's a nice swing fail on the 3-month and the monthly? That's what gives you this box. So now we've got a potential change of behavior, meaning that we want to see MATIC closing above this box on a monthly and then 3-month basis, giving us that confidence that maybe the low is possibly in, and we'd be targeting higher prices, which I don't think I would be ready to jump all the way to this quarterly up at 252. However, I would certainly start targeting the high of Q2 2022 at $1.72.9, assuming you're through the April NPOC here, right? So that's only if we start flipping this to support and living above it and still consolidating. So that's how you're going to get that swing trade off. It starts to look really good at that time if you can stay above this level. Now, anything below $1, basically, yeah, you're probably looking back down to like 83 cents, maybe even back down to the open here at 75. But realistically, I think that if you come back to 75 at this point, I would be looking for it to bounce and then make its way down to like 52 cents over time. Where's the gold pocket on this thing? Nowhere near this quarterly high, man, but it's good to know where it's at. So hopefully that helps on MATIC. That's a nice quick breakdown. You know, a lot of this stuff is repetitive for me, meaning that we've covered this for weeks now. So the old ones should be, if you've been attending these, you should be familiar with the charts and the levels. And I do tend to repeat these things a lot. So hopefully it's starting to stick a little bit. 618 to 65 is the gold pocket. 786 is not part of the gold pocket. So the reason that you refer to the gold pocket as the gold pocket, just so you know, is one, it's a golden ratio. And actually the 382 is considered that golden ratio, and the 618 is the inverse of it. So that's where that comes from. So the gold pocket is the 618 and the 65. Your other golden fib is the 382, then the 1618, etc. Right. So that is how that works. If you're ever in the mood for Fibonacci, there's lots of good books out there. Carolyn Borden, Fibonacci book. I think, yeah, Carolyn Borden is the one that I've plugged in the group. So in our group, I've plugged like 20 books that people can just download and have forever. And one of those is on Fibonacci, and she covers everything from how to pull fibs, but also Fibonacci time, how to do things like that. So it's a really interesting book for anyone that wants it. Polkadot is the next one up on the list. We're just going to go down the list, guys, just like very methodical and boring. Very methodical and boring. All right. So this is DOT. You know, one thing I'm really happy about is that we did say that if you got above this local box right here, you can see this has been support, support, and support, is that we would make a new high and maybe challenge as high as the Q4 high. We did say not to fall in love with that idea, but we knew we'd probably take this local high out as soon as this area was cracked and held, and boom, and you got a new high. Now you've given the area back up. You've come down to the quarterly POC, which you're finding resistance at. You're kind of consolidating around it here on the hourly, but this is your local gold pocket right here from the structure low to the high. And if you were struggling to pick a low, so to speak, to pull off of, you could very, very easily go to like a daily, right? I know I have multiple fibs on here. So we'll go to the daily, and I'll turn the 1 and the 0 on so you guys can actually see which ones. And we'll make them dashed. So these are the dashed lines right here. So you can see this is your daily low, your next daily high. So when you had this big run up, this was your first pullback into a major low into your next high, right? So that's why we're choosing the 559 level. That's why it's the most important. And that's why, what? We're going to bed. All right, good night. No. She's going to bed. I guess it's 9:30. She's usually in bed pretty early. I keep forgetting what time it is. This is also going to be your local daily support here. You can see that it's untapped, meaning it's untested. So we have not come back to this area on the chart, kind of like right here. You'd see how we'd come back and tested it several times into this gold pocket. We've not come back to this region of the chart. So should we come back to it, I would expect this to be a, what's the word that I'm looking for? A pit stop, I think is what I like to use. I would expect this, $5.59 up to 566 area to be a very nice bounce zone. I wouldn't expect it to go straight through. It may even front run it a little bit, but I think a wick beneath the 579 6M1 would be probable. But ultimately, as always, where am I looking to get involved in this? I really want to be involved at the Q1 as of right now. I don't know if anything has changed on that. I would like to know if something changed on that. As of right now, not really. Not really. And in fact, we might not see it. Let's take a peek at price. I do think I still like this. I think if I was interested in DOT and adding to a long-term position again, not just trading, I'm willing to trade this area from 559 to 566, definitely. Maybe even up as high as 579, 580, kind of extend that up a little bit. You can see I have an alert right here that's already set for this weekly naked point of control, mainly because it comes in at the value area low of our developing quarterly range. So that's actually pretty nice. And the 6-month pivot is here with a daily just beneath it, which very, very good. I don't see anything else there? So yeah, I would be interested in this region of the chart, actually. I'm glad I have an alert there because I will be willing to trade this area, maybe even let it extend down to these levels here, this little like window. This makes it a much bigger box than I'd like. However, it's a very important box to have on your chart. Main reason being is if lost, you're probably heading to like $5, right? I mean, very simply put. And then this becomes a really major inflection zone in the chart, meaning that if we were to lose this zone, I would expect us to come down and probably challenge the low. So at a minimum, I do think that we're probably going to come down into like the $5.80 region. I shouldn't say that we're going to, but it's just an area that I'm watching, and I think that it's probable at least 580 down to 559. My invalidation for this is going to be underneath 531. Closures beneath 531 on a material basis, like weekly candles where we're getting continued downtrend. I would expect a new low to be made, and that's where I'll be interested in getting price. Otherwise, I'm willing to trade this area of the chart if reached. I'm not willing to trade this area, even though it's been clear support, but mainly because it's in the middle of the range, in my opinion. So for me, I'll be sitting this one out unless given better opportunities. Hopefully that is useful. Not probably as useful as I think it is, but let's make sure that everybody's doing good. Awesome. Chat looks fine. Let's see what is next. We're rolling through these a lot faster than we normally do, so pretty happy about that. Solana's been a really nice chart. I'm not going to lie. Been very happy with Solana. So this is your pit stop area on Solana. We identified this as a pit stop previously, kind of similar to what we've done with some of these other ones. And what you'll notice here is that you are coming off the level. Now you're trying to turn it into resistance. And if you see that as resistance, I still think Solana comes down to this area of the chart. You know, that's right in line with the idea that maybe Bitcoin continues down to some of these lower targets at like the 20,688, 20,434, maybe even 20K. Yeah. So where do I change my mind on Solana? Again, another 6M1, and it's the $22.11 zone. If you recover this, I think that you run the chance of, you know, doing something like so. If you can get back above this area definitively, you're looking for that move back into the quarter too low, and then probably try to take these highs and maybe even run at $30, right? That's a much more bullish case. And again, this all ties into Bitcoin, where what did we say we need to see out of Bitcoin? Reclaim of about 22,400, in my opinion. You reclaim 22,400 and things look really, really good. And you can see why there's been such an important level right here. So reclaim this zone of the chart. If Solana is also reclaiming $22, I'm probably going to try to trade this at least to the top of the range. And how I would do this is like so. I would just say, okay, where's my range at? What's it look like? I would say you established your range here. And I would just quarter it off or turn it in half in this case, like so. Extend it to the right. And I would say that my first take profit in that scenario, the bullish scenario, we don't get the zone that I'm looking for, which is much lower. So I have to take the entry on the momentum. I'm looking to take this local high, to me, 24.24. And I would just box this off like so, because we're box girls here. And this is how I do it. I'd be looking for the 50% mark of the range to be hit, which is just above this high that could be swept at 24.24. I'd be willing to get out a little bit early just to make sure I get a take profit at $23.82. That's how I would trade that. You get back above here, you're going to take these highs probably. And, you know, that's not a get out and like close the whole position. I would just be looking at this as it's an obvious area of support and resistance. First take profits here, stop loss at break even, which is going to be back at the low of the range. So you may get stopped out, but again, you didn't get the best entry. So is what it is. And then if you don't get stopped out and it clears this level, yeah, you're looking to ride this all the way to the range highs. That said, if you're not doing that, I expect over time for this to make its way down to this gold pocket. Many reasons why we expect that. So the expectation is we have to have an idea of what you're going to do if price doesn't do what you think it's going to do, because I think that's why a lot of people lose money is they don't think about all the options on the table, right? So looking at this, you can see the quarterly low is coming in here. I think that when we worked out monthlies, it's also that area structure range wise. It's Pretty sure this whole thing is a giant structure. Yeah, I pulled this as a giant structure. You can see that we are living below the point of control of our range. We are living below the value area low of the overall structure range. And the value area low and the point of control here are showing us that, well, we're coming into a low volume area. So if we start breaking down from this region, we expect to see the value area low at 1664, but most probably going to come down into $15.18 would be my guess. Be my guest. Be my guest. Let's go out to the daily. Yeah, you don't have any levels here. I would be confident that if you don't reclaim some levels here, that you are probably going to approach this area with prejudice. Yeah, this is a very quick move up. What goes up fast comes down fast. So what's the monthly look like on this one? Very nice. Hopefully that makes sense. Clear as mud. Awesome. I'm not personally trading Solana, but a lot of people like it. It was one that I got requested a lot of back when it kind of started ripping. So we went ahead and did that. Yeah, so on to Algo. Algo where you go, right? We've got this really nice zone here, and we've got a lot of boxes and colors on this chart, and I apologize, guys. We started doing this last time where we were making showing you guys how to like segment a range, a larger range, that is. You can see that you're really not bouncing from anything here, at least not that I'm aware of. That's not always a good look. Not really bouncing from anything. Value area low of this underneath the point of control, underneath the quarter one. You know, you've got this low at 2308, this SFP. So if we zoom in here, you can see that we've effectively swung fail these lows 1, 2, 3 times. I would expect these lows to be hit again over time here. And maybe even work our way down to this gold pocket and this level here. Let's get this level where it belongs, right there. $20 or 0.2086, excuse me, but it is a zone. I would definitely have an alert on this right here at 23.08 cents. And once that's hit, I'd be looking to get a position from 21.68 down to 20.86 cents potentially. If you want to front run it, you can. I don't necessarily front run my levels, but some people get kind of worried they're not going to. So if you wanted to extend this up, you could, but I don't think it's necessary. I would just be patient with this one. As of right now, the TA says that's where it's going. And it really hasn't had a big pullback, to be upfront with you guys. This one's gone kind of just straight off the bottom here. So that's what I would be looking for on Algorand. You like that, Matt? I'll go where you go. You know why I know that joke? When I was in college, I was on the safe ride after the bars, and there was a guy named Hugo. And he was the bus driver. And I got on one time and I was kind of drunk, and I said, Hugo? And he goes, yeah. And I go, Hugo, I go where you go. And like after that, it's always just been a joke for me. I like that one. So I like to think I'm clever, but we both know I'm not. So Adam, this has been a really easy trading coin as well. So again, what are we bouncing from? Quarterly point of control, kind of the same theme across the board for these. They're all going to look very similar. You had a really nice harmonic here. And if we pull the regression just on the harmonic alone, not on anything else, right? So we're just looking at the harmonic, not the quarterly. What do you notice? You missed the high of the regression. However, you're right at the EQ of it. And that's super clean. And I really appreciate that. That makes me really happy and confident in the tools that I've put together and the strategies that I've made for these. So that made me really happy to see just an absolute filthy touch of the EQ, and you're getting a bounce out of it. You know, that's not to toot my own horn, but sometimes you have to. That's a 6% bounce. Am I taking that trade? Probably not, but it kind of makes me feel good. You know, it's nice to see. You did establish a daily level here. So straight away, you can see that the open at 1353 is important. And then so is the open down here at 13068. This is going to be a key area of support and resistance. And if lost, you're losing the point of control of the range. What do we expect? We expect to see the bottom of the range. And I would expect to see the gold pocket from our D completion zone up to the high at that point. You can see I have one alert on here. That's this local low, because that is where your monthly pivot lines up. If I recall, boom, 1221. So if this local low is lost here at $12.14, I am expecting to see this box down here. So if you wanted to put a pit stop in here, you could. I do think this is a pit stop, meaning that if it reaches it, it is going to bounce. That box is going to look like so between 1214.40 and 1244. However, I'm still really more interested in 1154 down to like 1089. I'll be looking for an entry setup, I guess, like a swing fail or something like that. And also it's going to depend on what Bitcoin's doing, right? It always does. I know I hate defaulting back to that. Always depends on what Bitcoin's doing. But nothing has changed for me on this one. You go down like the we'll say the crackhead time frame, for lack of a better term. Take a look at our regression. Again, I left this regression where it is on purpose so you guys could see how well respected it was on the breakdown. So up until it broke down, look at this. Very, very nice. Gave you the breakdown to where your POC here, if we pull the quarterly VWAP, I imagine it's, yeah, we haven't even hit the quarterly VWAP. So I still think this one's probably got lower to go. This is going to be a dead cat bounce at some point. I do change my mind above the value area high at 1470, and I would expect us to get into this gold pocket. And this is still resistance up to 1645. So this is actually pretty high time frame resistance on this one. To be upfront with you guys, and top of our regression as well. But this is a trend-based pull, 618, but that 1645 is also big resistance. So should something happen where we get back above, you know, that 1469 level, tag these like local highs up here, yeah, I would expect a new high to be made. However, I still think that you're very likely to see a rejection out of this zone. But over time, I would love to see $20.03 over time. That this little box up here, that would be a really nice target, like a bullish target if this rally just makes a nice higher low and then continues up. I would over time like to see $20 on Cosmos. Well, I guess I should say $19.30 to $20.03. But that's well and far away, like well and far away. We have other price action to deal with in front of us that we're contending with right now. So just bear that in mind. You know, and a lot of these levels I'm giving you guys, if they're lost, like not going to look good. You know, it's not going to look good. So again, this is XRP, really big zone here. I know I've been trading off of 29 to like 36 cents, I believe, for quite some time. Ooh, I don't know what I was doing there. Whatever I was thinking there, forget about it. You have a really clear structure here where you broke below the quarter one low right here. So we're just going to take this candle and look straight this way. And what do you got? And you have a beautiful range here. You're at the POC of it. If we lose it, what are we looking to do? Come back down to probably the low of the range potentially. Where is my gold pocket on this guy? Ooh, is this near the yearly open? Look at that. Your golden pocket is on the yearly open. And this is a big area, in my opinion, for this asset. So we're going to keep that in mind as we're going forward. Yearly open is going to be absolutely clutch for this asset going forward. What's the high time frames look like? Look at that. There's your quarterly open, which is the yearly open. We know that. The quarterly level just beneath it at 33.14. Yearly open just above. You don't have a proper swing fail though. Man, 21 cents is beneath that. Yeah, so this little box right here is about as important as it's going to get for this asset, in my opinion. Could it go lower than this? Sure. I could give it down to here, I guess. We'll give it a bigger box just because we're going to be like generous to this thing, right? And you know what? No, we're not. We're not going to be generous. Generosity is for the weak. No, I'm kidding. That's not true. That's not true at all. Don't quote me on that. That's a really terrible saying. So you have a really, really large range. I actually really prefer the structure range on this one. It's very, very clean, the breakdown. Living below that, well, depending on how you pull it, if you're on the 1 hour, you're below it. If you're on the 4 hour, you're above it. So regardless, you're at pretty important support here. Go out to the daily, and we can see why. You can see this is your last daily level of support right here where we were settling up. So it's no wonder you're getting a bounce. You have this SFP right here where you swung fail once and again twice here. So you've retested 37.50. So 37.5 cents is lost on a closing basis, daily closing basis. I would expect to see this make its way all the way down to 33.93 into this gold pocket as well. And this is where I'd be looking to trade again between 34.54 cents all the way down to 32.74 cents. I say all the way. It's 2 cents, but that's like 10% on this asset, so you have to be careful. But yeah, this would be the zone I'm looking for at that time. I would be curious to see the quarterly range on it. And this chart is a mess. I normally actually chart this on a different tab, but I have it on my shitcoins tab too. This is a quarterly low. That's actually not bad. Not bad at all. What did the a little bit lower. No MPOCs. Yeah, I mean, this is good support. You break down below it, you're breaking below your range. Yeah, I'm expecting to see this region of the chart. So you are at support, and it is important support as well. So again, 37.5 cents needs to hold. If you're looking more locally, which I prefer not to do, but we can. Now there it is. Yeah. This is the same zone right here. You start breaking below this little blue line, and well, you've got yourself a nice discount, I guess, a nice 10 to 20% discount. But otherwise range bound until then. XRP doesn't do anything on a material basis until, well, one, now that it's back above like 42 cents, but two, breaks above the quarter one low here at 54.61. And you've got a nice move into 77 cents and probably up closer to like the yearly open between 80 cents up to maybe as high as $1.09 even. So I would be looking for this region of the chart should you break above 54 cents, but only if you break above 54 cents. That's it. So long term, I've been buying XRP down here near 29 cents. That was the area that I was giving. So I've been trading this one and trading it well, just taking the swing trades on it, only in spot. Been an easy coin to kind of go through. Did we already roll through all 7 that we said we were going to? I haven't looked at comp in a while. This is one I did on Sin City, and I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit again. I gave you guys a level of 61.85 cents. Give you this low. Look at that. That's a beauty right there. That makes me happy. Got to have 61.85 cents. You get this level and good things happen. Otherwise, you start breaking down from these daily supports that you're sitting at, this like little flaggish area on the chart, right? You can just see it right here. Let's get rid of the background. Region of the chart. Where are you going? Pretty obvious. You're gonna take a haircut. So need to hold this region of the chart. You break above 61.85, and you can try to make a new high. My inclination is closer to like $100 at that time. Pit stop's going to be about 87.90 though. I would say 87.90 is a good spot. Yeah, 87.83. How much is the Discord? It's $59 a month. First month's always half off. So if you go to the website, it's leadingcrypto.io. It's $29 when you put in the code BTC22. That'll be the first month. It's always half off. So trying to think if there's anything else I want to look at. I looked a little bit at Litecoin. Litecoin did disappoint me. That's one that did front run our target a little bit. So it didn't front run the gold pocket here, which is our initial target. However, we cleaned this up to say that we probably are looking for like 104, if you recall. If we're looking at this, because we're on these streams, we're looking for clout, guys. We're not looking to be somewhat right. We want to be exactly right. That's why we go live. No, I'm kidding. It was one of those things where, cleaning it up, this is a nice area. It's a very good inflection point in the market. As you can see, boom, 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 right? and again here. So 104 to 112 was kind of the area that I hadn't set my hopes on, but I really wanted to see. And it's not like we've made a break in structure where we still can't see this area tested. You know, it's just the gold pocket has kind of slowed us down a little bit. So still looking at this as, even if a secondary push arises here, that this is still resistance, right? So Discord actually pays you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. H bar is one we haven't looked at in a little while. H bar doing H bar things. So this is a range we set up last time we were live, right? We said that we'd be interested in H bar if it reaches a certain area, and we were looking for a gold pocket, looking for this little box right here. I'm gonna make it blue so it's easier to see. Mainly because why? Well, gold pocket, value area low. I mean, what's not to love? H bar is up at that 8 cent mark. We did kind of talk about that. That's obviously a level we had on our chart here. It's just these local highs. If I'm go back, I'm sure that I can find this on a quarterly chart or a monthly chart. If I had to guess, it's a really nice monthly here. What's the quarterly look like? Yep, there you go. Look at that. So what did we say? We're looking for the Q3 high. And there you go. You've tagged your Q3 high now, and you are getting a nice reaction off of it. However, one thing to keep in mind is now that you can look at your monthly, though, and you can say, well, last time I was right here. This is going to be your support, right? So this is what we're looking for support. And we'll go to the daily. We'll go down to like the 1 hour. There you go. There's what you're settled up on, right? So locally, if we're looking at this from a local standpoint, we do want to see this little box holding. That box is going to come in at 8.17 cents and 8.09 cents, really small window for you. So this is a good SR level to play between here and 8.45 cents, giving you kind of a nice little range. If you're a scalper, you know, I don't know too many people that are scalping this. I'm definitely not. What's the high here? Yeah, 3%. So 3% range on an altcoin, that's really nothing. But if you start breaking below this level, you're breaking back below prior monthly highs, quarterly high, I would expect to see lower prices. I mean, for lack of a better term, and we need something a little more localized rather than that giant chart. So we'll go ahead and take a look. This one's been ripping. Been a lot of hype on this one. This one's got a big community. We love big communities. Those make for the best trades. Yeah, so again, you've got a nice range here. You could still make a new high potentially here according to the trend. However, eventually I do expect a rejection, and I would be looking towards, you know, 6 cents again, but probably over time looking to get down into this region under 6 cents, somewhere between like 5.5 cents down to 4.5 cents, kind of a wide zone there, but that's where I'm interested in buying again. Otherwise, you should have already been accumulating this one. That's all I'll say on that one. Plenty of opportunity here. You can see it's come down to some really major levels right here, straight into the box. Didn't hit the real major ones, especially the one down here at like a penny. I know we have some guys that with their hearts set on that, but sometimes you don't get it. If you're clearing these local highs, though, next target's going to be here. And I would actually bring this down. Next target's 9.36 cents. I don't know that you're going to see anything more than that, though, to be upfront with you. I would just do this. Come on, don't do that to me. There we go. Good enough. Good enough for government work. I would expect to see something like this right here. I'm just going to extend this over. Let's go to the 4 hour. See what that looks like. Yeah, it pretty much gets these local like last rejection zone pretty well. You can see it was support, chop around it a little bit, back test. Yeah, this is a nice clean zone. So I would expect to see 9.36 up to 9.69 if you can clear this local high at 8.45 cents. Otherwise, you're watching this lower box right here, and you're just saying, man, if this does not hold this support, I'm probably re-entering the range. And again, we talked about this earlier where we said, what are the stop losses looking like? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. When's the last time we took a low? you start breaking down, you do something like this, right? These lows, it turns into one of these because you're just taking all of these lows. That's all you're doing. Yep, and there's not much on the volume profile here, so keep that in mind. So continuation is the name of the game for H bar. No continuation, it's very unlikely to continue, in my opinion. I think the trend will come back to earth a little bit. That doesn't mean it's over; it just means a retrace, which is okay. Value area low and these levels down here always offer up good areas to play. That's how I like to do altcoins. Again, guys, the name of the game is buy low, sell high, not I hope I don't miss out and I buy high and get stuck, right? That's not what we want to see, because on altcoins that happens all the time. People just keep getting sucked into it. They buy high and they never really get to sell until it's low again, and they sell because they panic. And that's no fun at all. Yeah, no, Richard, those books are worth hundreds of dollars, but that's regardless. How many trades do I trade? So far this year, I've made, this is only on Bitcoin. I know my Bitcoin stats, actually. I looked at them the other day. I was 35 trades in, and I had an 86%, because I took a loss yesterday and today. I think I'm at 86% win rate, and overall, my collective like ROI on that account, because that's all one account, is like 42% or something. So yeah, I think I've made 42% on one entire account. You know, it's decent money for me. It's enough that I don't have to work, right? Altcoin wise, I took a trade on Polkadot at $4 and like 30 cents. MATIC was a long-term play, bought into that one, sub 40 cents. QNT, been trading that one. I got in just underneath $100 this last time. Atom Cosmos, I didn't get the entry that I wanted. I was actually looking for a little lower, so I did not get in closer to like $10, but it all panned out. Because again, trading is not about perfection, and I was trying to be perfect on that one, and it did not reach my target, and I sat on it too long, so I didn't get the best entry. MATIC was a good one. I haven't taken any shorts on it, but I'm trying to think. XRP, that's one that I've been like long-term playing, like just playing bigger ranges for most of these, to be honest with you, because it's just easier with altcoins. It's harder for me to day trade a lot of these all at once. I'm not great at like day trading multiple assets. I do like to swing trade multiple assets though. It's just a lot to keep up with. I don't think I've been, well, besides Ethereum, but I picked up near like the $1,000 mark. So for me, like I've just been buying Ethereum. I'm not actually trading it, for lack of a better term. I'm trying to think if I traded any of these others. No, I didn't trade AVAX. We can look at AVAX. I looked at this one for someone here recently, but I'm not trading it. I just looked at it because I was asked to. We determined that the quarter that we were most interested in was this Q3 back from 2022. And now we have our levels. You can see that it's front run the gold pocket in the value area high of this range. However, you found acceptance back into it. One would expect to see the point of control over time. You're just hung up on a 6-month pivot right now. So the 6M1 coming into this year is basically getting things to the T, which is really, really nice. Like, again, love to see the stuff that oh yeah, the monthly pivots there too. So a lot of confluence in this little region for a decent bounce. Nothing really bullish is happening until you're back above 1928 definitively, in my opinion. Otherwise, still looking down for like 1580, I think is what I determined. Somewhere in like the 1580, maybe just a little bit below range is what I'm after on the old AVAX, right? Because this one, I mean, you got to think how hard this thing ran from $10.50 all the way up to 22. That's over 100% pump. You're not really trying to buy this thing at $20 or 1928. You know, it's like you're looking to get a little bit of a discount. So, oh, and I do have a short from, yeah, I do have a pretty long-term short. Yeah, I've been holding a short since last April. That actually was the one trade. That one trade netted me more on my entire portfolio. So like all my capital, like my net worth basically, than I've probably made ever in my life. So that was the best trade I've ever had. So, and I'm long on Bitcoin from 16.6. I'm still also gig along at 16.6. that trade is actually already so profitable that I've closed 70% of it. And if I wanted to not trade the rest of the year, I could just not trade. So that was really good. A nice, good swing trade to get. But I'll keep trading, obviously, because it's what we do. We trade and monitoring it. But yeah, so I am still short from the 40s on Bitcoin, and I'm long from 16.6 in separate accounts. So I have two leveraged hedges going against each other. But eventually one of them will win out, and I'll close one and ride the other one, right? So that's what we're looking for. So if Bitcoin dumps from this region, like let's say this is all giant bull trap, what everybody keeps saying, I just stand to make more money. I'm not gonna lie, like that's it. I just stand to make more money. If Bitcoin goes up from here and this is the bottom, I'm going to close my short. That short gets closed right back into inverse perpetual, which means I close out into spot Bitcoin. So I don't lose anything. I'm still in Bitcoin. And as it goes up, I still gain value on my spot holdings. And then I have my leveraged 6.66 position on that as well running. So trying to be more vocal about position management for you guys as well, because like I know that's a big thing. Like swing trading is a really great way to be successful, and it's much more sustainable than like just trying to turn yourself into a day trader. Generally, that comes over time and consistency and really good risk management. Like you have to have good risk management for day trading. Like it has to almost be perfect. In terms of swing trade, you still have to have risk in it, but there's a little bit more room for error. You know, you can have lower win rates on a swing trading account and still come out profitable because the wins are larger. Losses ideally aren't huge, but you might have a wider stop loss, so you have to take that into account. But you know, if you're finding the entries off of like intraday charts, you can get really good entries and have really good invalidations to keep your stop losses kind of closer, which that's the route I'm trying to get people to. But you know, again, it's a work in process. It takes time. Most traders take, if they're trying to become a full-time trader, like just become profitable, and this is their only source of income, it usually takes them up to 3 years, sometimes more, to accomplish that, because it really is a numbers game. And the problem with it is people tend to deviate from the system so much and so often due to emotions that they never reach that period. They either burn themselves out or they lose so much money they can't keep trading, or you know, they just keep spinning their wheels and they're breaking even. I've seen people that are really competent traders and they're never even in the money, even though they're winning 70-80% of their trades, because they don't have good risk management. You know, it's like I was just telling someone the other day, there's like a leaderboard on some of these exchanges, and I saw a leaderboard and there's a guy that has like an 82% win rate, which is really good. And he was like negative 50 something percent for the year. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, how do you win 80+% of your trades and be negative 50% on your ROI? Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, that just tells me they don't have stop loss management and that they're just playing super wide stops, and it's not good. Yeah, day trading is definitely something to work your way into. Don't get me wrong, there will be intraday trades that are going to be available, like the easy ones. You're like, oh, that's a really easy trade, I'm going to take it. The invalidation is great. Yeah, definitely do that. But at the same time, don't sit at your computer all day and like look for trades. Find the swing areas you're most interested in and be patient. And don't be upset if, you know, price doesn't reach those. Like all these areas I'm talking about, maybe we hit 0 of these areas. It's totally okay. There's going to be other opportunities, and I have to be comfortable with waiting for those opportunities to arise. And if it hits my my setup, you know, my only goal is to execute with capital preservation in mind, meaning that I want to get into this position if it's favorable on my terms, and I want to make sure that those terms include me, how much of that money I'm losing. So the only thing I can control and the outcome of this trade is how much money I can lose, or my risk is what that's referred to. I've got control over my risk. I've got control over the trade. That's really all there is to it. Control the risk, you control the trade. Very simple. That way, you know, like I said earlier today, if you lose multiple trades, it doesn't like kill you to like lose multiple trades in a row, because it's probably going to happen, you know, especially if you're learning still. Like you're going to lose, you're going to have a string of losses. I lose multiple trades in a row. Sometimes it happens, you know, so. Curve is that CRV. I've never looked at it. That's one that like I used to shit on because I had a really strong community. I assume this is it, CRV. I guess I have looked at this one before. How about that? I don't know when I made this chart. I'll be honest with you. I made this chart so long ago. The last time I looked at it was was on December 29th, 2021, because technically this needs to go over to here. So I've not looked at this since 2021. This is your 2021 regression. Got things pretty well, I'll be honest with you. It's not half bad. Look at that. And it's come down to the only levels on the chart. So the area to hold on this one was 6.27 down to 3.37, like a 50% window, because there's not a lot of price action here. It's not that bad, though. It goes back to 2020. Let's take a peek at curve. Three-month SFP. There's our yearly open. I mean, you've got a really, really obvious level of resistance above you at 132 if you can reach it. 127.70. Oh, man, you got so close to taking that monthly high there from September. Huh. And straight away, you have a structure range here. You've reached the range high, of course. Of course you did. Of course you reached the range high. You know what? Let's do this. This is just easier. That's cleaner. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me on this one, I'm personally not interested in any like intermediate bounces until about 87.9 cents, which is a chunk of price action away from where you are. Personally, if I was looking for a long-term bid on this one, I would be patient. That's just me. I would be looking down below the gold pocket even potentially here at 72.8 cents down to as low as 62.7 cents. I would think that this is going to be the area of interest. This little like zone right here is probably where I'm most interested. You'll find that I really like the gold pocket. It's not something that's new in trading. A lot of people do. But I really like to combine it with ranges, and I like to combine it with horizontal supports. And so what you'll notice is this is an annual level, and I'll show you what that means. Okay, so this is your annual level right here. Let me get all this stuff turned off so we can actually look at it. Oh, shit. So this was your last annual close right here beforehand. And you can see this is your open on the following candle. So what you're looking to do is you're looking to defend this level here at 6.28 cents if you come back to it, which you can see it came through. And so from there, all you're doing, like let's say you're on the annual chart and you're starting here. You've marked out the open from 2021, okay, because you can see this is where price reversed and made its move to the upside, right? Now you've got the low here, another area that you're interested in. Okay, but we have the 2023 open there. So for me, I'm going to get rid of the 2021 low, and I'm just going to replace it with the more relevant 2023 open just because it's there already. And this is going to be the region of the chart that I'm most interested in holding as support and accumulating in should there be a range in this region. So what you'll notice is this is the area of resistance and support that we've identified. So you can see it right here very clearly. Boom, 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 boom. Very nice. It's very clean. So fresh and so clean. So fresh and so clean. You can see some wicks below it. But yeah, this is more than likely where I'm interested in price again. You know, I might give it a little extra love just above that. But however, I think you'll probably see that zone again based on what I'm seeing. Invalidation. Well, reclaiming $1.07 is a start. And then on the daily, if you were to hold $1.17, so this is the zone right here. It's a big zone, but you could use those levels as individuals, or you could box them off, right? You could just say that if this, then that. So if $1.07 is reclaimed, I expect to see 117. And if 117 is held, I expect to see 132. That's it. Very, very simple. But based on volume, based on everything I'm seeing, I would expect to see this box again between 6.2 and 5.24 cents. Or I'm sorry, 62 is that 62 cents, 62.8 cents, and 52.4 cents. So I've been saying things probably ass backwards here. But yeah, 62.8 and 52.4 cents is likely the area that I'm most interested in. If you lose 52.4 cents, you're coming to 33.7 in this case. I think you'll probably take this low. But, you know, that's getting ahead of yourself. I think this is good support for now. So hopefully that makes sense. How long have we been live for? 65 minutes. So that's curve for me. Anything above that, and I'm just targeting the 3M here at 181. It's an old level, obviously, but we'll take a look at a few other things real quick just to make sure we're doing our due diligence here. Excuse me. What quarterly low is that? Quarter 3 low. That's kind of dirty, but my dog's outside. I can hear him whining. I'm gonna have to go get him. I'm probably gonna end the stream here in a little bit, guys. So is this good support and resistance? Let's have a look. Looks good enough for government work. Yeah, I would be happy with this zone afterwards. With doing minimal work, we can say that these are probably the most important levels on the chart. And I'd be looking back down to support. What do we do? When you find a range and you get a bottom, you oftentimes get multiple attempts at the bottom. And so in this case, you don't really have a bottom until you've cleared these local highs here. So this is how you'd be reading price action, anywhere from about right here on over down to here. This is your range, right? So this is where you're going to be looking to collect the coin, so to speak. For lack of a better term, this is the area of the chart I want to be filling my bids. And if I'm looking to fill those bids, where's the best place to fill the bids? Right? Low of the range, right? Right? We're all on the same page here. Something like this. We could do this now. We can get rid of this stupid box. And we could say, I'd like to fill my bids on the bottom half of the range. So that's the area of least amount of risk. Yeah, so that's how I would like to do things. And again, I've been wrong before, guys. So, you know, none of this is financial advice. Do what you think is best. If you love something enough, you can just buy it until you're, you know, you fulfill your heart with whatever you need to fulfill it with on that asset. But I don't personally think any of these coins or assets love you back. So I would just try to get the best position on your terms. And then hopefully one day it makes you lots of monies and you take profits like good people. Have I ever looked at NEAR? I've never even heard of NEAR, man. I feel like me looking at NEAR for you is so pointless, though, because we both know that you have all the levels on the chart. But I do keep saying I'm going to do NEAR. So I'm going to make an individual video on NEAR. That's literally, it's on my to-do list. Like I have that written down on a piece of paper. So it has been 68 minutes. My dog is outside whining. It's cold here. I'm going to hop off, guys. Hopefully you guys found value in this. If you did, do me a favor, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, yada, yada, yada. Or even better, share it with someone. That always helps out too. So otherwise, guys, enjoy your weekend. I've got a really busy one with the kids. Lots of Girl Scout stuff, birthday parties, Super Bowl stuff going on here in Kansas City. Going to get with some family for that, or on the X's side. The kid's mom, her aunt and uncle, they don't have kids, so they always go all out and like make tacos and stuff. And so I'll probably at least sneak over there to eat like my weight in tacos before going back home to drink and watch the game by myself. That said, appreciate you guys. Everybody have a good weekend. Be safe. Go Chiefs, and we'll catch you in the next one. Okay.